I made my first million at 40. My first billion at 75. Know what the difference was? I stopped doing stupid things. You see, everyone's looking for the secret to getting rich. The magic stock, the perfect timing, the insider tip. There is no secret. There's just a checklist of idiotic mistakes, and if you avoid them, you win. I've spent 60 years watching smart people destroy themselves. Same mistakes over and over. And you're making them right now. 7 mistakes that will cost you decades, not months, not years, decades of your life. Most people don't figure this out until they're 60, broke, angry, blaming everyone else. I'm giving you the checklist today. If you're making even 3 of these, you're already 10 years behind. Let's see which ones. This is the Munger method. No hype, no predictions, just what works when everything else fails. Let's go. So, mistake number 1. You're learning from your mistakes instead of other people's. Wrong approach. Completely wrong. Look, I'm not smart enough to make every mistake myself. I don't have that much time. Neither do you. So I read obsessively. Not self-help garbage, not success stories, failure stories. I studied every major stock market crash, every corporate fraud, every bankruptcy. Why? Because the same patterns repeat, the same stupid decisions, the same warning signs everyone ignores. You think you're different. You think when the next bubble comes, you'll be the one who sells at the top. No, you won't, unless you study what happened to the idiots who didn't. I read about the South Sea bubble. Happened in 1720, 300 years ago. And people still fall for the same scam today. Different name, same stupidity. Tulip mania, railway mania, dot bubble, housing bubble, crypto bubble. Same pattern every single time. Mass delusion. This time is different. It's never different. I studied the Great Depression. I wasn't even born yet, but I damn well learned what not to do. I read about people who lost everything because they borrowed money to buy stocks. Margin calls wiped them out. So, what did I learn? Don't use leverage, ever. If you can't afford to own it outright, you can't afford to own it. I read every biography I could find, not to be inspired, to catalog mistakes. Andrew Carnegie made mistakes. John D. Rockefeller made mistakes. Even Ben Franklin screwed up investments. He bought into some ridiculous scheme that went bust. But I don't have to repeat them, because they already wrote it down. They documented their failures. All I had to do was pay attention. And here's what you do instead. You lose money in crypto, you act surprised like you're the first person to fall for a get-rich-quick scheme. You buy a stock at the top, it crashes. You're shocked. But it happened in 2000, in 2008, in 1987, in 1929. The information was there. Thousands of books about it, documentaries, case studies. You just didn't read them because you were too busy watching videos about the top 10 stocks to buy now. And here's the thing about learning from other people's mistakes. It's not just cheaper, it's faster. I compressed 300 years of market history into a few years of reading. I learned what killed investors in the 1800s, the 1900s, every decade. I didn't have to live through every crash. I didn't have to lose my money in every bubble. I just had to read about the people who did. So here's what you do. Read one investing disaster case study per month. Just one. .com bubble. Read about Petscom and Webvan, companies that raised billions and went to zero. Read about 2008 financial crisis, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns. How did they collapse? What were the warning signs? Long-term capital management. Oh, this is a good one. Hedge fund run by Nobel Prize winners, geniuses. They built a model that said their strategy would only lose money once every 1,000 years. They lost everything in 4 years. How? Why? Read about it. Read about Enron. Not just they committed fraud. How did they commit fraud? What accounting tricks did they use? Why did smart auditors miss it? Why did analysts recommend it all the way to bankruptcy? Read about Tesla shorts who lost billions betting against Elon Musk. What did they get wrong? Read about Bill Ackman losing 4 billion cents on Valiant Pharmaceuticals. What did he miss? Each one of these stories saves you from making that mistake yourself. Boring? Yes, but losing your money is more boring. Trust me. All right, mistake number 6. You're buying things you don't understand. This one drives me absolutely crazy. I have a simple rule. If I don't understand it, I don't buy it. Period. End of story. Sounds obvious, right? Then explain to me why you bought crypto in 2021. Can you explain how blockchain works? Can you explain mining? Can you explain proof of work versus proof of stake? Can you explain why Bitcoin has value? No? Then you weren't investing. You were gambling. And now you're mad that you lost. Here's what kills me. You spend an hour researching a $50 toaster on Amazon, reading reviews, comparing features, checking if it has a bagel setting, but you'll throw 10,000 cents into a stock because some guy on Reddit said, "Diamond hands to the moon," and posted a rocket emoji. Makes perfect sense. I passed on thousands of investments, huge winners, companies that went up 50x, 100x, and I slept fine. Why? Because I didn't understand them. And I'd rather miss a winner than lose money on something I don't get. That's the deal. You can't win them all, but you can avoid losing on stupid things. I passed on tech stocks in the 90s, didn't understand them. Everyone said I was an idiot. You don't understand the internet, old man. Maybe, but I also didn't lose money when they all crashed. I passed on Amazon early on. Didn't make sense to me at the time. Jeff Bezos was losing money every quarter, and people were calling him a genius. I didn't get it. Did I miss out? Sure. Amazon went up 100,000%. Oops. Did I lose money? No. And that's the point. Here's the thing. People don't get when you only invest in things you understand. You avoid 90% of disasters. You'll miss some winners, but you'll never lose everything on some fraud or bubble you didn't see coming. I never bought Enron, never touched WorldCom, never invested in mortgage-backed securities before 2008. Why? Because I didn't understand them, or I did understand them and realized they were garbage. Either way, I kept my money. Meanwhile, brilliant people, I'm talking PhDs, hedge fund managers, professional investors, they lost billions on stuff they thought they understood, but they didn't. They got greedy, they got complicated, they wanted to look smart, so they bought complex derivatives and structured products and leveraged instruments, and they got wiped out. Well, here's the test. Can you explain your investment to a 10-year-old? I own part of a company that sells soda. People like soda. They buy it every day. Company makes money. Give some to me. That's Coca-Cola. Simple. Understandable. Been around since 1886. Still selling sugar water. Still making money. Now, try explaining this. I own a synthetic collateralized debt obligation that leverages proof-of-stake consensus mechanisms to yield farm governance tokens in a decentralized autonomous organization. What the hell does that even mean? If you need 15 minutes and a whiteboard to explain your investment, you don't understand it. You're just repeating words you heard on YouTube. And here's another test. Can you explain how it makes money? Not why the price will go up. That's not investing. That's speculation. That's hoping some bigger fool buys it from you later. How does the business generate cash? Where does the profit come from? If you can't answer that in one sentence, you're gambling. So go through every investment you own right now, every stock, every fund, every crypto token. Ask yourself one question. How does this make money? If you can't give a simple, clear answer, sell it today, right now, because you're about to learn an expensive lesson, and I'm trying to save you from it. Mistake number 3. You're in a hurry. You want to get rich by Thursday. Not happening. Never happening. Look, I built my wealth over 60 years. Not 6 months, not 6 years, 60 years. And people ask me all the time, what's the secret to getting rich quick? There isn't one. That's the whole secret. There's no shortcut. There's no hack. There's no loophole. Just time and compound interest. The big money isn't in the buying. It's not in the selling. It's not in timing the market or finding the next Amazon. It's in the sitting, the waiting, the doing nothing. But you can't sit still, can you? You can't do nothing. It kills you. You see someone make 200% on a meme stock in 3 weeks, and you panic. I'm missing out. Everyone's getting rich but me. I need to do something. So you start trading. Day trading, swing trading, options, crypto, chasing every hot tip on Twitter and Reddit and TikTok. And 5 years later, you've gone absolutely nowhere. Actually, worse than nowhere, because you paid fees and taxes on every stupid trade. Meanwhile, the boring guy who bought an index fund 5 years ago and forgot about it, he's up 60, 70, 80%. He doubled his money. He's sleeping well, not checking his phone every 5 minutes, not having a panic attack every time the market drops 2%, not arguing with strangers on the internet about why his stock is going to moon. Here's the math you don't want to hear. 20% per year doesn't sound exciting, does it? It sounds boring. It sounds slow. But 20% per year for 60 years turns $10,000 into $500 million. That's not a typo. That's not a mistake. That's compound interest. That's what Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. Not because it's flashy, because it works.